Cozy up and welcome to this week's episode of the Cub Cast.
So today we're joined by a very special guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Ron Bumblefoot Thal.
But yeah. It's pleasure to have you. Interesting intro.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna run through some questions. So, first of all, if you went through with the Guns N' Roses reunion, where do you see yourself now?
If I was part of the GN'R reunion?
Yeah.
I don't think I would be. It wouldn't.
Yeah.
At least in my perspective, it wouldn't be a reunion if I was there.
Oh, well, yeah.
I wasn't a skull. So
that's fair, honestly.
Yeah, so it's hard to even, if I was doing it, I would just be, some backup player, just playing stuff. But I'd rather be doing, original music of my own that I'm part of with a band like Sons of Apollo or things like that. So that's where my heart is and where I belong and what, I feel I should be doing. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It just obviously depends what your interests are and if that's how it is, fair enough.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that love, being like hired gun guys and just being on stage. For me, it's more about being creative and doing something creative. And if you go out and play the things you created, that's great. But if I'm not doing that, I feel like I'm a fraud in some kind of way.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, I find that a quite interesting way to see it, to be honest. Just do what your passion is, but separate from music, you taught photography part-time at schools, didn't you?
I did in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Way back when. There was a school that didn't have a music program at all. And I went in and became like the music director for the school and set up all these programs and different classes and everything. And then a few days before the school was starting, I remember the head of the school was asking me, it's like, so what are some of your other interests? Like, well, I do black and white photography in the darkroom. This is before Photoshop and everything. This is when you had to go and you had the trays of chemicals and old school. And he said, you want to do a photography class? I was like, sure. So I set up a dark room and taught photography also. Yeah.
Wow.
That's great. I actually in the UK we basically have like a GCSE, which is like our big exams at the end when we finish our high school. And I've picked photography as one of my subjects. So I find it quite interesting.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So I mean, over this whole pandemic thing, you released Planetary Lockdown.
Yes.
Titled that for obvious reasons. And so, I mean, what was your writing process there? Did the pandemic really inspire it, or was it just something that you labeled that because of the pandemic?
Well, it was a riff that I had written for Sons of Apollo when we were starting to write for the second album. And I had all these different riffs and different song ideas. And that was one of them. And as we were writing that album and Mike and Derek and me, we were just in a room, just going through all the ideas and building them. And when it came to that one, I was like, you know what? Let's hold this one back. And I wanted to keep that one. Something in my gut said it was not the right scenario for that song, that riff, and I just had it demoed, just my own version of it, and it just sat and every once in a while I was like, I should do something with that, song. And as soon as we came racing home from Europe, as the gates were closing behind us and the world was shutting down, and in early March 2020, and I hit the studio and I was like, boom, I got to finish that song. That's the first thing I did.
Yeah.
And I just immediately just jumped on it, and all the ideas flowed, and I started experimenting a lot with just different effects, guitar effects and things, and came up with a whole new direction for the song for like the second half and everything. And being that it all occurred during a planetary lockdown, like, oh, what should I call it?
Yeah, that's very fair. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, COVID. Again, we kind of brought this up previously. Is that as bad as it is, it kind of brought all of this together, didn't it?
It's we've lived through an interesting moment of history.
100%.
There's been a lot of pandemics for as long as there's been living things. There's been pandemics, and in a weird way, I could say we're lucky to be in this one because only a year later we had a vaccine. We have this technology where we could be talking from and staying in communication from anywhere in the world. We can have food delivered to our homes if we need. There's so many things. I mean, I always bring up the Antonine Plague in the 500s. That was a bad one. Lasted a good 15 years. A volcano went off in Iceland, and the sky was dark for a year and a half of it. So without the sunlight, all the crops died, and there was a famine. Wow. So imagine a famine, a year and a half of darkness, 15-year plague, and no Meets or Zoom or Skype. And no food delivery or food that could be delivered. Like, we're really lucky that if we're going to be in a pandemic, that we're in this one. So yes.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying there, because like obviously it's like shut the whole world down, like you said. Planetary lockdown is the title for your song, but in some ways it sort of gave people a break, because me in particular, obviously a lot of other people as well, would have been like very stressed and had a lot of things going on, and that sort of like allowed like me and others to like focus on like one or two things and put your all into it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It gave us the greatest gift in the world, time. And time to do all the things that we always put aside and say, I'll get to that someday. Suddenly we have a chance to do it. And we get to just, as I like to put it, we get to sharpen the axe. When it's time to go out and start chopping trees again, or whatever you guys like to cut down with axes. I don't know.
I chop trees
if I was to give you an axe, I don't know what you would do with it. How many casualties there might be. Horror movies made, or this is our time that we were able to improve ourselves, or just take a break and just take a vacation from a million things that we've been doing, pulled in a million directions, and get more of a chance to focus or just do nothing. For me, it was a chance to do a lot less and focus more and appreciate stillness, for lack of a better term. There's so many things that I missed out on in all the decades of touring that I suddenly got to do. And as weird as it is, with all the death and all the sickness and everything that's been going on the past year plus, has been the first year in a long time that I felt like I've been alive. Because when you're on the road, it's not real life. You're just living day to day out of a suitcase in a different place, and you never get to plant your roots and feel like anything is And a lot of people I know, they didn't realize it until they got off the road forcibly and were home for a year and got to reconnect to the real life. And a lot of people don't want to go back to that other life of just living transient in a, And I'm one of those people. I'm going to be touring a lot less.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting concept though, because obviously depending on what your like career path or whatever you're doing in life, it like that could have affected you in like 100 different ways. But for some people it was beneficial, some people it wasn't. But it hopefully it should, the lockdown should be sort of getting to an end soon, depending on with the vaccine and everything. But
hopefully, but everything is an opportunity if we choose to see it as one. This was an opportunity to learn new skills and get new paths to what we're doing with our lives, or it's all different. My wife, she's a veterinarian, And during the pandemic, a lot of people got pets because they were home and they could spend time with them, or they were alone and they wanted companionship. And so once businesses started reopening here, for her, it's nonstop business. And you know, some of the places that she works at, they actually have to turn away people because they are so full and so busy that there's just, it's strange, unexpected ways that the pandemic affects people. You know, you wouldn't expect that veterinarians would get busy because of the pandemic, because people buying pets and all.
Yeah, I agree. It's
Weird.
So it's on a different topic though. Going back to like touring and stuff. You use a double neck guitar. How did you come about using that? Oh, you've got it right there. Yeah.
It's always in arm's reach. So, you know, you got the bottom neck, which is like a normal guitar with frets and all. In fact, let me see if I can get some sound up here. What is that? Let me shut this off. I am wasting your time while you're watching.
Don't worry.
Play with my computer.
We have all night, seriously. Yeah.
Okay, waiting for this to load in. Cubase, Windows, fire up. Loading.
Even without it, it sounds quite nice.
There we go.
Oh,
A little bit of sound.
Right, there we go.
Too dirty of a sound, but yes. So you have the bottom neck, which has frets on it, like guitars have for the last billion years, and the top neck is fretless, so it's more like a cello or a violin, where wherever you put your finger is what the pitch is going to be. So you can do all of that. You can be sliding, and where on a fretted neck, if you did the same thing, you would hear all the bumps.
Yeah.
Not quite the same. So I started playing fretless a lot around, it was, I guess, 1998. So, and I would be writing more and more music using the fretless, and it reached a point where I'm going to move this down here because half the screen is my ceiling, and there you go. Now you can see this better. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So half the music I was writing was on fretless, and half of it was on fretted. And when I would play live, I would have to choose which one I was going to play. I had to play either fretted or fretless for a song. So finally, I reached a point where it's like, I need a double neck. I need to be able to access both so I can play during one song. I can, you know, do all of it. So, yes. So in 2009, the company Vigier, a French company, that's the V right there for his name, Vigier, and they started making me this double neck one. So this is my signature double neck guitar, and it's pretty much the main thing that I play, that I use for everything. And with a lot of the bands that I'm part of, I can't do it without this.
Oh yeah.
So I painted myself into a corner with it. There's different tunings that I would use. Let's see. So I would have this string down like that, and this one would be like that. So for Sons of Apollo, let's say, it would be doing something in this tuning. And then I switch. So yeah, so I'm just bouncing back and forth on the different necks, and then you know, might go to the solo on the fretless. jump back for the chorus onto this one.
Yeah.
So it's having two guitars in one, and it just adds to the music a lot. And so yeah, that's why I got the double neck.
Yeah, that's great. I remember the first time I sort of seen that you had a double neck guitar, I was like, what's the point of that? And I didn't realise it was actually fretless, the top one. I was like, what's the point of that? You just got two necks, well, that'd just be a pain. But hearing how you can like seamlessly switch between the two and it works better for certain parts of a song or certain songs, it's really good.
Yeah. It's not just for show. It's not just it's not just some Spinal Tap thing. I actually use it, and you guys know the movie Spinal Tap?
Not a clue, honestly.
I have literally no clue.
Wow. Okay. This is a movie made in 1983, 84 about a band that goes on tour making sort of their comeback album, and everything is going wrong on this tour, and things are going worse and worse and worse. And it's a really funny movie. You should check it out. It's called Spinal Tap. That was the name of the band and this name of the movie. This is Spinal Tap. And it's very funny. Very funny movie.
I'll have to give that a watch.
Yeah. Classic movie. And anyone who's been on tour feels like they're living that movie. Like everyone has what they'll call a Spinal Tap moment, where something happens, where they like have some, something on stage that's not working and malfunctioning, and something. Yeah, definitely. That's your homework. Watch Spinal Tap.
Yeah, I will.
So yeah, I mean, in a 2015 interview, you talked about the whole Rock in Rio thing with the clone trooper helmet.
That was my Spinal Tap moment. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that worked. So you said that you like consistently managed to get emails from angry Brazilians. Do you still get them?
Not so much anger, but just more. Someone will send me a picture of from that show with the helmet on.
So
I'm just like, ha, 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 ha. Especially on May 4th, because it's Star Wars
Oh,
Day.
yeah.
May the 4th be with you. So on Star Wars Day, I get a few of those. Let me find one.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so funny.
Okay. Bumblefoot Star Wars. There it is.
Yeah.
Million pictures. We'll never live it down. There you go. Okay.
Oh yeah,
There it is.
fantastic. Yeah.
It's legendary. It's when it came like you kept coming off your head. It's when you were trying to put it on. It was so funny.
Terrible. That was my Spinal Tap moment. If you want to see a comedy movie of a fake band that has really funny songs and has all kinds of moments like that happening, Spinal Tap.
Yeah, 100%. We'll have to give that a watch now.
It's quite interesting because like seeing like that movie, like you said, if you've been on tour, I'm presuming that it just feels quite like real, but also very funny just watching it from a person's perspective.
Yes, and whoever made that movie has definitely been on tour, because all the things in that movie are things that really happen. Like you're backstage and you're trying to get to the stage and you can't find it because there's so many hallways and things and you don't know how to get there. Things like that. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
You like you just said you use Vigier guitars. Is that how you pronounce
Correct.
it? Vigier.
You said it right. Most people say Vigier or something like that. Vigier.
Vigier is very. Well, I don't know what the word is, but
it's very French.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a French brand, isn't it?
Oui.
There you go.
But apart from Vigier, like what model or like brand would you pick up if you had to pick up another guitar?
If I had to use another one, ooh, that's a tricky one. There's so many, especially now, there's so many great companies that have come up. Like it used to just be, Fender, Gibson. And then in the 80s, there was Charvel and of course, Ibanez. But now you have Stromberg and Kiesel. Both of those companies do some great stuff.
Yeah.
So one of them, perhaps. It would be a lot lighter than this, too.
Oh yeah.
Smaller bodies and all.
It was quite heavy, seeing as though obviously the double necks as well.
It is. It's like Thor's hammer. It's like Conan's sword. It's giving me a lot of upper body strength.
Oh yeah.
Fair enough.
Also giving me bad knees. But I do play. Where is it? I thought I had it around here. It's over there in the corner.
Yeah.
Court, company Court from Korea. They've been around a long time, and they make some good high-end acoustic guitars. Screw it, I'm gonna go get it. Hang on.
Okay, you do
Okay.
that.
Here we go.
Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Isn't she precious? Let's end up in that hole.
Don't get me started on all the TV Wonder stuff because I won't stop. But yeah, Court, they make some really nice acoustic guitars. They have a series, the Golden Series, and they're excellent. Yep. So cool. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite nice. I mean, it really depends, but I feel like I've used both. Obviously, I don't really play guitar anymore. It's different type of music, but when I played, I preferred using like acoustic guitars. I just found it more like easier to start off with, as I only did it for like a few years, obviously.
Oh, nice. So what kind of acoustic did you have?
It was all I know. It was a long time ago. I think I was about. It was till I was about 6 till 9, but all I remember.
Damn, that's young.
Yeah, all I remember is that it was a maple, and that was about it.
All right.
I'm trying to recall. I'm
So
not.
it was made of wood.
Yeah.
That's all you can tell me.
Yeah,
That's okay.
a guitar is made out of wood. That's
Yeah.
surprising.
I mean, I've seen that you've been using acoustics very regularly, and of course that Hello Kitty video. So yeah, I mean, as you stated, you like playing like sort of progressive music with Sons of Apollo and like your own stuff as well. Like, when did it click that you wanted to go on with that style of music?
Well, that style of music, I was into it from a very young age. When I moved, I grew up in the boroughs of New York City and started off in Brooklyn and then moved right over to the one west of it, Staten Island.
Yeah.
And when I moved there were all kids my age, and we all had older brothers and sisters that were just a few years older, and they were at the age where they were buying albums, and I would go over my friend's house to play, and there would just be albums lying all over the floor everywhere. So we would get curious and we would just pick one up and put it on. So at the age of 5, 6, 7, I'm hearing Queen, I'm hearing Elton John, I'm hearing, Led Zeppelin, all this really good stuff. And I remember hearing Yes, Going for the One when I was about 7 years old. And I don't know if you know the band Yes.
Not a clue, honestly.
I
I'm not gonna lie.
actually do. I know the name, but I have no idea what sort of music they do.
Okay, let's see. Okay, probably the most popular one was a song called Owner of a Lonely Heart that went keyboard.
No clue.
And then they had another song earlier from the 70s that was very popular called Roundabout.
It's that song.
With that bass line. I'll be the roundabout. So that's Yes, yeah. And all the stuff like that, like all the crazy boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna play all the balls at once. So yeah, that's Yes.
I'm
So-
still shocked at that song you played before, because that is like, I've known that song for so long because of the internet and like memes and stuff, and I just heard you play that and I was like, oh yeah, now I know this.
Yeah. So that's Roundabout from Yes. So Yes was one of pretty much the first progressive band that I heard at a very young age, and the most recent album that they had just come out with when I heard them was this album, Going for the One. It's only 5 songs, but it's the most beautifully arranged, just amazing songs. And from that, I just fell in love with that kind of music. So I was into Kiss, I was into AC/DC, you know, all the typical stuff of the 70s, The Who, you know, and I was into a lot of 60s, Stones and Beatles, and Clapton and Cream, and, you know, Hendrix. But also Jethro Tull. I don't know if you ever listened to Jethro Tull.
I honestly,
this
again,
is showing how young we are. I have no idea. Who
No,
these
it's
people are.
cool. It's cool. I get to show you some of this stuff. So you probably, from the internet, know this song. It's called Aqualung. It goes. And the guy had this weird, low, gravelly voice. Sitting on a park
Oh,
bench,
all right, yeah.
eyeing little girls with bad intent. It's a weird song. Snot running down his nose. So yeah, that was a kind of progressive band as well.
Yeah.
So I was really into Jethro Tull also. Yeah. So I got into that music from an early age, and then following these bands and all the members of the bands that had all these other things that they were doing. There was a band called UK,
Okay.
which was it was one of the drummers from Yes and a guy named John Wetton, who was a founding member of the band Asia, which also had one of the keyboard players that was in Yes, and Carl Palmer, the drummer that was in the band ELP, which you might know that band. Was one of their popular songs. It was like, had all this weird keyboard. It was like, welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I know that song.
So yeah, that band. Also another progressive band. So they formed a band called Asia, which now John Wetton passed away a few years ago, sadly. And when they wanted to tour again, I joined them as the singer. So
Yeah.
you probably know the band Asia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah. I never meant to be so bad to you. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to play a million songs for you now. But yeah, so that's like the origins of progressive music was really all that stuff, the British 70s prog scene.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I was exposed to at a young age and just fell in love with it all. And from there, you know, you had bands like that, like Dream Theater, bands like that were inspired by all that. Rush, and you know, I was a big Rush fan. Have you listened to Rush?
Yeah, I know what they are. I've not listened to them too much, but yeah.
Really cool stuff. Yeah, amazing stuff. So growing up on all of that, I was a huge Rush fan. When I was 13 years old, I had this band, sort of a progressive band. It was like half prog, half metal. Prog metal. And the band was called Paradox. And pretty much all we did was Rush covers and Iron Maiden covers and some Ozzy. Yeah, it was right around the time when the first two, you know, Blizzard and Diary albums came out from Ozzy solo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so a lot of prog stuff growing up. And a lot of metal, a lot of old school metal.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Like you were talking about being in Asia and Sons of Apollo. Obviously, we talked about before. You did a lot of solo work. Do you feel like more productive, like having to write more for obviously different bands and your solo work, or is it hard to balance out, like you were talking about with lockdown?
You know, before I started playing in a lot of other bands, I would put out an album a year. Every year there would be another album out of solo stuff. And once I started working with these other bands and collaborating and touring more, most of what I wrote was a collaboration with those bands, and I barely got to do my own albums anymore because all the albums I was making were with other bands. So, damn it, hang on.
No problem. No, honestly,
Don't worry about it.
I was getting
Sorry
confused.
about that.
There we go.
Phone. Someone called. Yeah, I don't know over there, but over here, non-stop, just spam calls. It's
Yeah.
like every day, 5 of them.
Oh,
And now
yeah,
I'm
no.
getting spam texts too.
We get a lot of them. I pick
Yeah.
up the phone and they're like, "Have you been in a car accident?" I'm like, "I'm 14."
Yeah.
Mine are basically just people saying, okay, you need to reinsure your car. Please spend £1,000 and send us money now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a pain in the butt. So
Honestly.
yeah, so if we might get a few interruptions. I should have. Yeah, but the problem is, I try to go into airplane mode, but the calls still come through via internet. So I got to figure out a way to have a phoneless phone, so
Oh,
that
yeah.
no interruptions for doing this stuff.
I mean, a phoneless phone is the dream.
Oh, yeah.
so there's a way. I got to figure out what I need to disable to make that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's very easy. I probably just need to do something where I just disable phone, cellular, data, whatever. So yeah, maybe I'll do that later.
No problem. Right. So kind of on another topic here, you've made your own hot sauce.
Yeah.
How did you come about doing that, honestly?
All right. I was 12 years old, and my older cousin Steve bet me $5 that I couldn't eat a hot pepper. So I ate it, and I liked it. Yeah. And he never paid me the $5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So then I started really just enjoying spicy stuff. That was my first experience with spicy food, and I liked it. So anytime I would make a turkey sandwich, I would get rye bread, turkey, Swiss cheese, spicy brown mustard, and then I would take peppers, hot red peppers, and just cut them up and line the sandwich with them. That was my sandwich. That was my thing. Yeah.
Wow.
And people knew I liked hot stuff, so they started getting me as gifts. Happy birthday! And they would get me some hot sauce, some weird hot sauce that's like, grapefruits and habaneros or this and that. And then they started getting me hotter and hotter stuff because they knew I liked it. So I was like, here's one that's pure capsaicin molecules. Don't let it touch your skin. It'll eat it away down to your bones. Okay. That kind of thing. So after a while, after trying all these hot sauces and having a refrigerator that's like half food, half hot sauce bottles, I wanted to start making it myself. So I had all these flavor ideas, and I started looking for companies that wanted to team up and make the hot sauce. And eventually the stars aligned, and I found a very good company, and we put out a line of hot sauces, and it did very well. People enjoyed them. And okay, a show on YouTube called Hot Ones?
Oh yeah, I love
Hot
that,
Ones.
honestly.
So they have a blog. Like the main company that makes Hot Ones is a company called First We Feast.
Yeah.
And they also have a blog, and they did a blog on the 10 hottest sauces in the world. And they called my hottest sauce, they said it was number 3 on their list.
Oh yeah.
So they even said it was like the hottest one.
Wow.
I don't know if I can say the name of the sauce.
Oh no, I know what it. Yeah.
Yeah, Bumble-F.
Yeah.
Bumble.
Fantastic name.
And it's really, it's stupid hot. It's like it never should have been created.
Yeah.
But that's the best seller. That's the one that people actually like the most. Go figure. So that company that I was teamed up with, they sold their company. So I went and I kind of did it all myself and got a manufacturer and distributors and bottling people, printers and everything, and put all those pieces together and have my own food company, and rolled out the sauces again in the end of 2019.
Yeah.
And yes, these are award-winning gourmet hot sauces, which the hottest one will kill you. And yeah, so that's my other passion, is hurting people.
Oh yeah.
Through sauce. No, actually, 2 of the sauces are very mild and very tasty. Some people even drink
What's
them.
your version of very mild?
Oh, no, mild, like
Okay,
able
I was
to be
gonna say,
consumed by living things.
if you've got the third hottest hot sauce in the world and he's like, oh, this one's mild, don't worry, guys, and it just kills you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the third hottest hot sauce in the world. That's our medium one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they should
Oh,
get you
no,
on Hot
that's-
Ones. That'd be a laugh.
Oh, that'd be incredible.
I would love it. I would love to be on that show. Definitely. So yes, so I have 2 mild sauces, which are, consumable by human beings, and then I have the super hot one, which says right on it, just be careful. Yeah, extremely hot. I did put a warning on the bottle.
Yeah, one of these here, sign this contract, and then you get it.
We
Yeah,
are not
it's-
liable for any damage.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, yes. If it eats through your organs or the, paint on your car or anything else, yes.
It's quite interesting because doing guitar and like obviously like you said you've loved like hot things. Hard to say it, but your entire life it's nice to be able to like actually make that like quote unquote dream a reality basically.
Yeah, it's all doable. Anything you think of is doable. You just got to figure out what the pieces are and then just put them in place and make it happen. Everything is doable. If you could think it up, it's doable.
You seem like a very intelligent person, but obviously going back to
No, I'm stupid. I am as dumb as they get. There.
clearly need to rethink some of my life choices. But yeah, going back to your childhood, we saw that you seem to be like a very smart kid. When you were 10, you read like 3,000 pages of world history or something.
I was just very into learning. For me, learning was just like the most delicious food, and I couldn't get enough of it. And I loved to learn about everything there was. I loved history. I love, and I still do. And I love space, and I still do. Yeah. So I would just on my spare time, I would learn. Yeah.
Yeah, is that like being into all those things? Was that like the sort of thing that like made you think, "Oh, music is a career path for me," or is it nothing to do with that?
Well, it was. It was hearing the band Kiss, the album Kiss Alive, when I was 5 years old, and that's what made me want to do this as a career. And I didn't even know what a career was really at the age of 5. I just knew it's like, this is what I want to do, and them doing what they're doing, that's who I want to be. And I just started doing it. I watched what they did. It's like, okay, they write songs, they record songs, they play shows, they make merch. So I started doing that. Started recording using cassette players where the farther back you are, the quieter it'll be, the closer you are to it, the louder it'll be. And that's how we got all recording. The drums were 10 feet back. We had our little acoustic guitars like a foot away just playing. And then we figured out how to overdub. And we would play the music we just recorded with another tape recorder right here recording, and we would sing along with it. So now this one has the music recorded plus our voice. So that's how we, all of that, that's how we overdub vocals. So we figured out multi-tracking, and then we would do, again, we would just play this one back to another one recording, and we would just keep doing that, and that's how we made copies. So that's how we wrote music, we recorded music, we gave copies to our friends. We would put on concerts in my basement, my backyard, my neighbor's backyard, the school we went to, and we'd make our own confetti, cutting up pieces of paper into little cups to throw up at the end of the show. And I would do these hand-drawn, really bad comic books with stories about the band and space aliens and whatever else and all that kind of stuff. And that was all merch, and just did everything a band did and stuck with it. That's the whole thing. Just use what you have and do what you can with it. And the tools will get better, your skills will get better, and everything will just keep expanding.
Yeah.
So I went from cutting up pieces of paper and making my own confetti at the age of 6 to having confetti cannons that are shooting tons of confetti up in the air over the audience in an arena at 36.
Wow.
And that's how it goes if you stick with it and just keep working at it.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody starts somewhere, don't they?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was originally going to ask about your favorite moments in Sons of Apollo, but you've been in so many things. Like, what are some of your favorite moments over your whole music career that you can recall?
My God, this how do you take 40 something years of all these experiences and squash them into a funnel and just try and pick out a few? Like, I should have these answers already ready to go in my head, but I don't, because there were so many. I can't even remember how many good ones there were. I remember one time with Guns, we did a show for something called the Bridge School. It's a school for kids that have like serious disability, and we did, every year they would do a fundraising show, and they get all kinds of people. We did it with Neil Young and so many great people. And so for our show, behind us there was this platform in the back of the stage, and all the kids were up there in their chairs with their parents next to them, with them. And I would just, and it was an acoustic show. And I remember I would just, instead of playing to the audience, I was just facing the other direction. I was playing to the kids, and I was taking their hand and having them strum the chords. Like, I would make chords with this hand and have them strum. So whatever song we were doing, so this way they were playing the guitar with me for the concert. And that felt nice to be able to do that for them, with them. For me, that was a valuable show. It wasn't just entertaining people. It was something that helps people and something that makes a personal difference for individuals. And sometimes that means more. If you could do a show that you know is making a big difference to a handful of people, as opposed to just entertaining even 100,000 people, for me, it's more personal and it means more. So those kind of things. There's been so many. There was one time I went to an orphanage in Indonesia, and there was the sweetest kids. And let me see, I think it's on YouTube. Someone put it on YouTube. So let me find Mastari. Let's see if we can find the video. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna turn the camera around. And there it is. And having the little kids play.
Oh yeah.
So just doing all that kind of stuff, to me, that, you know, for all the huge shows, for all the, you know, millions of people, all that stuff, the things that I remember most, that feel most valuable to me, is like that stuff.
Yeah.
Those things. So you could say, oh, it was the time I played in front of this one and that one, and no, it's the things that you do for a kid that inspires them and makes them happy. Those kind of things.
The things that like they create an impact, and like possibly I remember like on my, like, I think I was speaking to someone about it. It was like they've been in the music industry for a long while, and they were like inspiring people to actually get involved with music is like their favorite thing to do. So, yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah, that's why I love teaching and doing clinics and things like that more than I love doing concerts.
Yeah.
Because through that, you'll inspire people to go and make their own music and maybe learn some new ways to do it, and get some new ideas and get some new inspiration. And I've seen it happen. There's some, I have some students that went on to just make like great bands and just make incredible music, and now they're teaching too. Also, it's wonderful when you just keep sharing it and paying it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking about performances, we obviously play quite a lot of games when we have the chance. We have to ask about a game called A Bird and Cage.
Yes.
That you were actually in the game.
So that thing, it's a really dark, rated R, sick, twisted game. And it's these dudes in Israel. These metalheads in this band. There's a lot of metal in Israel. Some like serious bands, Salem, Orphan Land, incredible stuff out there. And they, you know, they play this like dark doom kind of, you know, serious metal, and they're also coders and game, you know, they make video games, and for years they've been working on it and put the two together where it's an album, but the songs match the scenes in the game and go along with it, and what you do in the game, like it's pretty amazing. So I've known them for a long time, and as this has been in the works, and a few years ago we did a show where we played all the music from their album, from the game music. I don't even know if I should call it the game music or their album. It's both. Yeah. And we went out to Sweden to this gaming convention, and we played a live show. We played this metal show, and it was all the people that are involved in the music. So I laid guest solos on the stuff. It's their music, but I laid some guitar solos on it. And Rob Vanderloo from Epica, and Ruud Jolie, and from Cobra and the Lotus, and Danny from Asking Alexandria, like all these people, we were all part of this album. So it finally, just yesterday, the whole thing was released, the video game and the album.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a pretty cool way to release an album and to release a video game, putting the two together like that.
Yeah, it's actually a great concept, because a big part of like video games is obviously the backtrack and like the music, and me and Aaron, we like love like the soundtracks and getting some single player games that we play, and I think releasing an album or the music with a game is actually quite interesting.
Yeah,
and now here's something. 25 years ago, my God, the years are flying by. 25 years ago, Sega, they started making CD games, and it was the first time that they can have real music on their games, 16-bit, not just 8-bit, you know, boop, 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 kind of stuff. And they had me do the soundtrack to one of their games. So I did the soundtrack to one of the very first video games that had actual music on it. And it was this weird game called Wild Woody. And the music was so strange. I'll see if I could find.
Yeah.
It's weird. The game, it's about a pencil that like something, I forget exactly how it happened, but a pencil came to life and had to draw different things and erase, you know, the enemies and all the stuff. And you would go through these different worlds, like a pirate world and like a cemetery world. And I had to make all the different levels, the music, like 2-minute songs for each level and for each theme. So it was all this just weird stuff.
It's really cool.
I want to play that game now.
It was strange. So I had one day to make each song completely finished. So let's see. Oh, this was the intro that kind of explains the game. Let me jump ahead.
Now get this. If the spirits of...
Let me jump ahead more. And I can do this like totem pole.
It's got potential. Wake up, pal. You and me got work to do.
What the heck? Pencil man.
Whoa, big fella. You got a name, Leadhead. Call me Woody. Wild Woody. I know my name, but it seems like it's hard.
And I had to make all these strange songs. And they were just really weird songs. Yeah. So that's my background in gaming music.
Wow. Yeah.
That's where that's started. And I did a few songs on different video game soundtracks. I love that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, a video game soundtrack kind of is something that makes up a game.
Yeah. It's definitely something to brag about, especially like you said, one of the first games that's actually had music on. Not something you can just go about saying.
some weird songs. Weird.
Yeah. I think the game takes the cake for being a bit weirder though.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, talking about albums and stuff, you quite often donate a lot of your proceeds to charity, whether it be your albums or your hot sauces, to a variety of charities. And you're even on the board of directors at the Multiple Sclerosis Research Foundation, right?
Yeah. So when I was working on an album in 2001, and then the 9/11 attacks happened, so I changed the name of the album and everything, and made it an album where all the proceeds went to the Red Cross. And so that's one thing that I did back then. And yes, the Multiple Sclerosis Research Foundation, it was a nonprofit. And sadly, just last year, the guy who ran it, he passed away. Multiple MS had finally got him. But we were friends a long time. He started off as a guitar student of mine in the early 90s. And then his career was building, and he was doing really well. And then he got MS. So what he did was he started a nonprofit, and all his family and his friends were volunteers for it, myself included. And we would organize different types of events, concerts, dinners, comedy shows with different comedians, all different stuff. And all the money went right to the labs that were doing research. We met with all different types of researchers, and they would, show us all the different work that they were working on. And we would look through the microscopes, and we would see as they were trying to decode a cell in different stages and be able to reprogram it so that it doesn't attack the myelin sheath. Like all this quick stuff that they were working on in different directions and attempts to try and stop MS. And we were funding it. Yeah, we were directly funding all of that stuff. Yeah. So did that for a good long time, and for as long as it could keep going. Yeah.
That's really cool, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Going to your YouTube channel, like you said, we checked out and you saw you're quite friendly with Joe Satriani.
I mean, it's not like I call him up and say, "Hey, I want to grab lunch." But yeah. I mean, we, like if I email him, he'll email me back.
Yeah. And that's not something many people can say.
No, we've done some stuff. He actually, in 2004, he brought me on stage as a guest when he was doing a show, and I jammed with him. And he was the one that recommended me to Guns N' Roses also.
Yeah.
And I've I did a music camp a few years ago, and I was one of the teachers there. And a lot of times when Chickenfoot would be in town, I would go say hello to him. So yeah, we're not strangers. Yeah. I don't want to overstep and say, yeah, he's my friend, he's my buddy, or anything like that. I don't want to like be name dropping or anything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, 100%. So, finally, you produce all of your own music, at least, well, you have for a while, and you also produced the Dodies debut album. Would you like to run through some of your process on how you do that, or even how you got into it?
Well, producing is always different. First, it depends on what type of artist or band or whatever it is, who they are, what their goals are, what they need. You need to get to know them personally, because you have to help bring out the best in them, and you need to know what will do that. And everyone has a different personality. Some things, like for one person, you could yell at them, "That sucked, do it again," and they'll get all fired up and do it again. And another person will cry in the corner. So you have to know their personalities and what will motivate them. You have to know what their goals are and also what they need. A lot of people, they just need good recordings of stuff. Some people, they need someone to help shape their songs and almost be a co-writer with them. Different things like that. So it's always different. Every situation is different. For the Dodies, they're fantastic songwriters. They have their stuff down. They could just play perfectly in the studio one time through. So there wasn't much to do. We started going through their songs, and everything was good. There's really nothing I would have changed. I think there was one song where at the end of it, I suggested that it repeats the last line a couple of times, building up as it reached the end, because it was just music there, and it would have helped, just build to a bigger ending, things like that. But yeah, other ones, they need more hand holding in the studio. They need things very mapped out, and like today it's very common that you play to a click,
Yeah.
steady. And what a lot of people do is, the drummer plays, and then, he's a little bit faster, he's a little bit slower, which is natural, just a fluctuation. And in the studio, the engineer might quantize his parts to make them exactly dead on, almost robotically on, perfectly on. With the Dodies, we didn't even use a click. He has a great feel to the way he plays, a natural tempo. I want him to push forward when he wants to, and to lay back and not be tied down to a click that's going to take away that natural feel. Music should rush a little bit and pull back and do those kind of things. What's an example? Tiny Dancer from Elton John.
Yeah.
When it says softly, slowly, the band, all the music slows down a little bit. If it didn't, it would have lost something if it just was exact throughout. So things like that. You want the music to have a flow to it. So they just had them look at each other and play as if it was a gig, because I want to capture the energy they have when they play live. Some bands in the studio, they get very stale. They lose their spirit. And live is this whole other thing. And when you record a band, you don't want to have to follow it up with, but you have to see them live to really, get the true picture. No, you want to capture that. So I told them, just play it like a gig. No click, no anything, just eye contact and play. And 1 or 2 takes for each song, and they had it down. So we did that in the studio, and then took the tracks back to the drummer's house. And instead of spending more money at the studio and everything, I brought a microphone and an interface, a good vocal mic, actually. This one right here. And
it's my mic, actually.
This one, the Audio-Technica, the 4050 series, 4060, 4033. This one is a 3060, but they're all basically the same, other than choices of maybe you can change the polar pattern and go from cardioid to super hypercardioid, omni, that kind of stuff. So then we just recorded all the vocals right there in the drummer's room, right in his house, and did it all there, and any extra stuff, tambourine, things like that. Then I took the tracks home and I started mixing everything at my place. I use Cubase. They also have Cubase. So then I would send it to them, and they would put in all the ideas they want for different reverbs and different things. And then they would send that to me. So we really worked as a team on this thing. They had a lot of creative control. Sometimes producers, they take that away from the artist. Long and Winding Road from the Beatles, Paul McCartney. He wanted to strip down, and Phil Spector, who loves that big wall of sound, added all this grandiose stuff to it, and the artist wasn't happy. The song is great, and I would even agree with Phil Spector's choice on that. But I like the artist to have creative control. It's their vision, and I'm supposed to help them make that vision happen. So that's what I do. And they were very capable of co-mixing with me. So we did. So we really did everything up to the mastering stage. And, once the mixes were done, then I did the mastering and went through 5 versions of it, because I was so obsessed with it, and ended up with this very round, warm mastering to make it sound more like an album, not a scooped out kind of thing that, I wanted it to sound like you're at a almost just echoey, loud, blaring, energetic thing. Yeah. And I think we captured that really well. Yeah.
100%.
That's great when you have good communication with the people you're working with, because obviously it's a lot more difficult if you're sort of trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah, and I've seen situations where it was almost like the producer was the band's enemy, and that's not good. I've seen situations, yeah, like the producer had one vision of their own and the band had a vision of their own, and the producer was saying, this is how I'm going to make you sound. And, you know, there has to be, you know, it's about the artist.
Yeah.
You have to make them sound like the best version of themselves. You're not supposed to make them sound like you. You have to make them sound more like them, and you should be invisible.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do when I produce. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good process. Again, I think it's kind of weird not to ask about your thimble. So honestly, how did you come around like discovering that in the first place?
Well, I was doing a lot of guitar building and just weird experimenting, and for a lot of the music I was making and for a lot of just what I was exploring, you realize that, you know, there's a lot more you can get out of a string than just what's on the neck. You know, the neck goes and it stops right there, but you still have all those extra notes you can get out. So I was thinking, all right, what are we doing here? We are pressing the string against the metal fret. So we are making string meet metal. So instead of pressing the string to a metal fret, this is my mobile fret that I press to the string. So once we've run out of frets, I can hit more notes there. And also, you can shorten the length of the string in this direction, where instead of it ringing out the full distance to here, if you put this in front of it, it would almost act like you were shortening the length of string from this direction, but you're not. You're shortening from the opposite direction. So what happens is all your frets, it's almost like you have a shorter guitar and a neck that's so you can get higher and higher notes, and you can play in either direction. So instead of shortening the length of string, which is all we're doing, instead of going this last little bit right here, I'm shortening the string from this length to that length. So if we're doing it from here, we can also do it from here. So instead of going we can do it and hit it there. Like that.
Yeah.
So what I do is I use this to play from both directions of the string. And it could really make the guitar make different kind of sounds than it normally does. So yeah, this.
Yeah, I mean that's very, very interesting. Yeah.
And on my guitar, I have a magnetized hole that this fits in, where it just sucks it off and holds it there.
That's pretty cool.
That's really.
It doesn't fall out, and then I just kind of grab it out.
Yeah.
That's to be honest, it's a double neck guitar. Well, that's like one of the coolest parts.
The thimble hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, I mean, I think that's pretty much about all that we have to ask today.
Alrighty.
I mean, seriously, we do really appreciate you joining us. It's an honor to have you.
Oh no, it's my pleasure. I appreciate you guys considering me for your thing. So good. So, question: what's for dinner tonight?
Oh, I don't even.
I've actually already eaten, but I had it's a Friday today. I had like a very thick crust pizza, which was very good.
All right.
Yeah, I think I might be going out for Chinese or something. I don't know.
Nice.
Something
I
like
used to
that.
get Chinese every Friday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was like our Friday dinner. My dad would bring home Chinese food.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is it like you live again? You not live in New York anymore, do you?
Now I am right across the water, right across the river in New Jersey. So from the boroughs of, like, you had Brooklyn, then you have Staten Island, and then the Little Bridge, and then Jersey.
Yeah.
So here's New Jersey right here, and I'm pretty much like right in the middle of the state, right there. So
Yeah.
I was gonna go to Staten Island. It's maybe like a 40-minute drive, and you hit it.
Oh, wow.
If I'm going to Manhattan, just drive up and take a tunnel or a bridge over, and it's maybe 45 to an hour. And then over here is 120 miles of beaches, And then down here is like some local farms and get some fresh food. If I go this way, you hit Pennsylvania, and there's all the Pennsylvania Dutch people, like the Amish people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah, and they set up shops and have all kinds of yummy food and yeah, so it's a pretty cool place to live. There's a lot of everything nearby. Everything from Amish people to Manhattan, to beaches, to farms, and Newark Airport, where you could go anywhere in the world. So
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm pretty boring where I am. Like here, there's like a ton of fields, and then there's like a little town, and then over here there's a ton of field, and then there's Glasgow. So, yeah.
So you're outside of Glasgow. Which town are you in? Like how?
I'm in a town called Greenock. It's like 40 minutes away from Glasgow-ish.
All right.
It's yeah.
I think the last time I was in Glasgow, we played with Sons at the Garage in 2018.
Yeah.
But I've been to Motherwell, been to Edinburgh, been to Glasgow a couple of times. Yeah, it's nice up there.
Yeah.
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 I'll show you my field.
Oh, okay.
That was a great angle.
Yeah.
Nostril view. Back to the Swiss cheese room.
Oh, the Swiss cheese room is
It's a
like,
fantastic room.
that's like the most yellow room I've ever seen.
Yeah, I can never sell this house. I ruined it. It's yellow with black holes in the walls. And here
Some bumblebee stuff.
is my yard. This is a second house that I got just to use as a studio.
Uh-huh.
And I lost a lot of trees. There's been a lot of storms last year, and a lot of trees came down, but it's still okay.
Oh wow,
Oh,
that's
wow.
really nice.
Yeah, it goes back a good maybe 260 something feet, and all in the back there and on the sides. When July comes, it's all raspberries and blackberries growing.
Oh wow.
that's
Tons of
beautiful.
them. Yeah, tons and tons of berries grow.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Yeah,
yard
fit
to
them.
have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, again, thank you for joining us. Seriously,
Yeah, my pleasure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
honestly, we do appreciate it. So
Uh,
I think that's
Yeah.
where we'll leave it.
Would you like to do the outro today for our video?
Everybody, this is Ron Bumblefoot Thal in my Swiss cheese room signing off.